Thank you for joining us today for this webinar designed to give jewelers some advice on how to find a new space. My name is Paola Abbott. I'm president of Top of Mind, a public relations agency focused on helping small businesses grow and thrive. With me is the very popular Isis Pellegrino, who leads Leasing for Time Century, a premier jewelry center in downtown Miami. Hi, Isis, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Happy to be here. I want to thank you so much for hosting this webinar to share tips and advice for jewelers who may be thinking about moving to a new space, either because they need a bigger space or they want a better location. So many jewelers are extremely busy, as we know, and may not have the time to do the research and the homework that is really needed to make an educated decision in terms of where I want my business to be. So your job today is to share some basic information on what they can do to select a space that is perfect for their type of business. You know, we hear sometimes that people may fall in love with the space, but then when they're actually move in, they realize that the space doesn't work for what they need. So anyways, before I start asking you questions that we received from some of the jewelers in the US, can you briefly talk about your experience in the jewelry industry and your current projects, Time Century?
Of course. I have been in the jewelry district since 1984. So I have more or less grown with the jewelry district in my time. I've known some of the jewelers from when the grandparents started the business over 30 years ago to now that their grandchildren are either starting or have been managing the business. So we have a very beautiful relationship. It's been a very long relationship. So there is trust. I know the whole family. I know the district. It has grown beautifully. It is always growing, even now with the situations that the pandemic and everything. You're always seeing new jewelers, young people, very interested in designing and having new jewelry stores. So they quickly are referred to me because so many people know me and I'm very fortunate. And so I will tell you that I was in banking first in 1984, where I met these jewelers. Then I went into the SIBO building in the management office for 23 years, where I knew a lot of jewelers because that is a jewelry building primarily. Then I moved on to the International Jewelry Building, also primarily a jewelry building, and now Time Century. I'm very excited about Time Century. This is exactly what the jewelry district has been waiting for. A luxury, new, modern building, jewelry center to highlight the second largest jewelry district in the nation, which, like I said, is still growing every day.
Thank you so much for your comments. So let me go ahead and ask you the first questions. What are some of the most typical pitfalls that jewelers often make when selecting a space to rent?
Well, the most, I think the pitfall is when you're not looking at all your options. It's important to learn about the jewelry district. Definitely, if you're a jeweler, come to the jewelry district. It's easier to do business and to be successful. You're surrounded by over 500 jewelry stores in the Miami downtown jewelry district. So you already have a step ahead of everybody else if you're in this district, because there's that foot traffic and we're all doing the same thing. So even the jewelers come shop here. So location is very important. Familiarize yourself with the area and start looking at different buildings and seeing what are the different amenities and things that they're offering. That is an important thing, because a lot of people's pitfall is that they'll come and fall in love with one space and not necessarily look at everything that's around. So it's important to look at all your options.
Thank you. Interesting. So now, what are the most important factors a jeweler needs to take into account when looking at floor plans and, you know, the future layout of their space?
It's very important, yes, to look at a floor plan, but nothing beats having a walk through the building, getting to see where your space is actually going to be located. Find out where the main entrances are. Many buildings offer more than one entrance. Our building has 3 main entrances. So you have very nice spaces to choose from, and still you're in a primary spot. Then you have, of course, closer to the elevators. That might be convenient for you, or the escalators, because you want to get that traffic. So floor plans are important and they're fun if you're an architect, but I think a walkthrough is something a jeweler will appreciate.
Talk to me about what's the typical square footage needed for a jewelry store?
My experience has been that you never should go smaller than 400 square feet, because you're able to really display your jewelry, your merchandise, have room for your customers, your employees, and all your showcases. So never go below 400. That's a very nice, comfortable size. Grow, expand. There's always time to grow.
I love how positive you are. That's what we like about you. Now, does Time Century provide, let me talk about pricing, because I know that is a question that came up often when I ask jewelers, you know, what are some of the questions you'd like to Isis to answer? And they were talking, they were, you know, they just wanted to know about pricing. What should a tenant expect for a retail or wholesale or repair shop space?
For example, a retail wholesale space, because it does depend on the level of the building, which floors you're going to. Obviously, the higher the floor, the less expensive it is. But in the first floor, you can start at $100 a square foot at Time Century, which is a very, very good price in the jewelry district for a brand new building. You can go to the second floor, or the mezzanine level that we like to call it, which is right off the escalators at $75 a square foot. And the third level would be $65 a square foot. But we also have for repair shops, $50 a square foot, which will provide you water, gas, electricity, and an exhaust system, top-rated exhaust system, for a green building, which is very important for all our shops to be able to work and manufacture in a safe environment.
Fantastic. Will Time Century provide advertising campaigns for tenants? And is that something that is typical in the industry, you know, for landlords to provide that type of service?
I've only been in one building that provided that service, and let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. And yes, at Time Century, that is a primary important role that the owner of the building has decided to participate in. He will probably participate around 60 to 70% of the cost to advertise for the tenants, to advertise the jewelry center, and that does make a huge difference. And we want the tenants obviously to there be a committee where they are involved, because they know what we need to do to advertise for them. They are the experts, and we want them on board. And that program is something that is going to be very valuable in the building.
Yeah, that is an amazing added value, because you know, if you don't advertise, you know, your competitors will, right?
Yes, of course. And it is a jewelry building, so it is unique. So we have something great to sell.
For how many years a lease should be, you know, if somebody want to sign a short lease or long lease, what do you usually recommend in terms of how many years a lease should last?
Well, for jewelers, it's very important for them because of their business that they have a permanent address and that they stay in that place for a long time, because people buy very expensive pieces. They want to come back 5, 10 years later and that jeweler's still there. Many of these jewelers are like doctors. They take care of you all your life because you trust them implicitly, because you're not a diamond expert. So you want this jeweler to be your expert. So none less than 5 years is what I would recommend, because you have an established business and then you can renew. But primarily retail stores sign 10-year leases because they do want to make sure that these clients come back and find them in the same spot.
I love what you say in the beginning of our conversation, that the parent of the jewelers now that are adults, and then probably their grandchildren that are like young adults. And like you were saying, this is an industry where people know each other for generations, and that's how and that is the result of trust, right? When you trust somebody, you stay with them for as long as you can.
Oh yes, and I have jewelers that have provided the jewelry for the infants also, and now have provided the wedding engagement rings or wedding rings. I mean, it is incredible the type of relationship that jewelry brings in for these people that are doing the jewelry, the manufacturers and the salesmen, but also for the clients. The clients stay with you for life.
So talk to us a little bit about the type of amenities that jeweler customers expect from a jewelry center, especially the younger generations, millennials, and tell us how Time Century is addressing those trends.
Well, we at Time Century, besides the retail stores and the wholesale stores, we will also have 4 floors of offices. You have a lot of younger generation that start, and what they like to do is design before they get into the trade and actually learn the trade, which is fascinating. By the way, I have a young girl that came through the Miami-Dade Community College, which is right behind us, the School of Business, and she's actually become a diamond setter and doing extremely well. And she went from economics to becoming a jeweler. She loves it because it's very artistic, Paula. So a lot of young people love it. It's not only an opportunity to have your own business, but to learn a trade, incorporate what you have learned in college to run your business, which is extremely important and something new, because a lot of jewelers, the old-fashioned jewelers, have a different way of running their business. It was successful for them, but the new generation has new ideas. So we have done a lot of things at Time Century. We have those offices, like I said. They can always also have shops in the lower level to learn the business, to learn the trade. We will have a fully service building with everything they could need as far as internet, as far as restaurants, coffee shops. Also, another thing that they like is to know that there's security, that there's parking, that there's valet. All these services are provided. We're a block away from the government center, which all the young generations use a lot. The train, the Bright Line, they come from everywhere. So we are so accessible and so a full service building. You come into this building, you have everything you need. You have the repair, the manufacturers, the diamond dealers, the watch dealers, from the beginning to the end. You have a mineral in a rock that will come, an emerald per se, from Colombia. It will come here. It will be cleaned and set and prepared and cut all the way till it's in a ring and sold. So it's every facet of the jewelry industry. So it's a great opportunity to learn, and young people are very interested on the side of the, like I said, the artistic side, very, very interested. A lot of students from the college have come here and talked to me about it.
So you mentioned that you're going to be having like coffee shops and retail on the ground floor, especially like food related, or how would you describe the type of?
We are going to have restaurants and coffee shops.
Okay.
Hopefully a Starbucks. That would be nice. I'm looking into a lady that has the most beautiful pies that are, you know, food and dessert related, that is from France, that is gorgeous. But we also are going to have shipping companies, mail room, security rooms, for jewelers to run their meetings, and we will provide the security. And like I said, on the upper floors, we're going to have office spaces, which are also very well priced at $35 a square foot. And those offices will have all the amenities, and it will be a, you know, ready to move in office. Everything will be set for you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, you briefly mentioned security. Obviously, security is a big, you know, issue in that industry. Can you talk a little bit more about the type of security, the security system, and what a prospective tenant or future tenant could expect?
Well, we will have 24-hour armed security. It's a very important question. Every jeweler requires that. So we will have armed security to patrol the building inside and out. We will have a state-of-the-art security surveillance, and we will have a monitored system for people to come in when the building is closed. Also, for the valet, that's a very safety reason that we put the valet, is because a lot of tenants or clients that come for these tenants are very high-end clients, and they want to be able to park right at the door. So that we will have guard security and the valet service for their security. So, and we have a very, very good relationship with the City of Miami Police Department. We welcome them in the building all the time, and we like to have them here, and they give us that extra security, which we appreciate.
You know, talking about the building and downtown Miami, because that's where the building is located. You know, downtown Miami has changed, you know, drastically in the last 10 years. So somebody who maybe used to have a space in downtown Miami, or someone who maybe, you know, 10 years ago visited downtown Miami and they found that there was no parking. It was a little bit scary. Can you help people visualize how much has changed in the last 10 years, you know, including parking, including the vibrancy of the area?
Well, the parking is very good. I will tell you, it's very important that you visit the area. What a change. People that have been here 2 years ago don't recognize it. Not even 10 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, don't recognize the area. Brickell is amazing. Biscayne Boulevard is also amazing. And it's all moving this way. We have a lot of new restaurants, which is very exciting. A lot of national restaurants and international restaurants, so we love that. There is a lot of night traffic because there are more residential buildings that have opened up and fully leased. So there's a lot of nightlife. So that has become a big difference in downtown Miami. Downtown Miami used to die after 6 o'clock and the businesses were closed. But now we have all these residents that keep the night alive. They love living here because they work, they play, and they enjoy the nightlife. So there is a lot of nightlife, there is a lot of security, a lot of lighting. Mr. Yair Levy, which is the developer of Times Century, is involved in changing this area. And this building has been such a long time coming. The jewelers are very excited. The jewelers are very interested in security, but also brightness. And this brings a lot of brightness. As you know, the first 3 floors of this building are all windows, all that natural light is going to be coming in, and we are going to be lighting up the corner of Miami Avenue and Northeast First Street with our beautiful new building. So I think this district is continuing to change every day, and more people are excited. Just watching our building, the remodeling, all the other landowners are also doing a lot of upgrades in their building if you drive through Northeast First Street. And there is quite a lot of change. There's a lot of new public parking, which is what we were talking about. Just right around the corner, we have 2 new public parkings, which is great. It's amazing. I would potentially tell people to visit us, to visit the neighborhood, to go through the jewelry stores. The tenants everywhere in this area are very friendly. They have a lot of history. They love to share their history. We have people that have been here, like we were saying, 4 generations. We have Holocaust survivors that love to share their stories. We have jewelers from the 1930s here that are still coming to work every day in their jewelry store. I mean, incredible. They still enjoy teaching the grandchildren. And then familiarize with the city of Miami, because the city of Miami has a lot of services for new businesses. The DDA is one of them that can promote your business. They can advertise your business. So if you're a new jeweler, be welcome to the city of Miami. There's a lot of programs, and we're more than willing to share those programs with anybody that needs more information, definitely.
And let's be honest, you are a great resource. Anybody can call you, walk into your office, and you will give advice because you just love sharing. You're so passionate about it.
Yes, I am very passionate about the jewelry district. When the owner, developer Yair Levy approached me, I was so excited because really, this is a dream come true for the jewelers in this area. This is the greatest thing. The next best thing for a jewelry district that, like I said, has continued to grow. There's a lot of businesses here, and they are looking for places to open and expand. So this is a great addition to the jewelry district.
So you told me earlier when we were talking that it's over 60% of the building of your retail wholesale space is already taken.
Correct.
Without giving names, because we want this to be, keep it in suspense, but can you tell us where your tenants are coming from? Are they locals, international, Colombia, Europe? Where do you see this growth coming from?
Very typical of the state of Florida. It is a melting pot. We have people from the jewelry district down here coming to expand, which is something all jewelers look forward to, the day when they do expand. Then we also have several national tenants from New York, from Chicago, California. I've received interest from the Caribbean, from the Middle East, which I'm very happy, and from Europe. We have had the young lady that I spoke to you about, with her take on those pies, is French. So a French chef, isn't that exciting?
Well, I'm there. If you need help trying their food to make a decision, you can call me. I'll be there. That's an emergency. I'll be there.
That's great.
That is wonderful. So can you give, what would be your overall advice for jewelers who are about to make one of the most important decisions in their business life, and they, obviously nobody's an expert in leasing unless you're in the leasing industry like you are. So what would be like an overall, advice?
Advice for opening a jewelry store or a business. I believe, I think, and I have experienced that you should always, obviously, look at how much space you need. If you need help, you can get an expert to help you with the square footage. But generally, it's always good to start with something comfortable within your budget. What do you feel you're comfortable with? Because I always tell all business owners. There's always time to grow. It's much nicer to expand than to have to downsize. So the big mystery of leasing space is get a space that you feel comfortable paying, that you're able to do your business in comfortably, and let the time to expand come, because it will, and you will have spaces to expand to. So I always think that's a very smart way to start. Obviously, you want location, you're looking at the district, you're familiarizing yourself with the area, but it's very important to start with your budget, be comfortable, grow, and then expand. Always time to expand.
Could people call you, like, you know, people in the jewelry industry, you for advice? Would you give them advice for free?
Of course, I have been doing it for almost 30 years. Even as a banker, where I started, I was giving them already advice on their businesses. And I love the jewelry trade. There's a lot of passion there. And I think that, and I'm fortunate to be a part of it. So yes, if you have a question, feel free to call me. I will share my experience. And I love the jewelry district, the entire downtown Miami jewelry district.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do next is we are going to share your contact information and a link to this recorded webinar. So, you know, people, the busy jewelers can watch this webinar whenever they have time, maybe before they go to bed, tomorrow morning, and they're going to have your contact information so they can call you, ask you for questions, you know, and then you take it from there. But I want to thank you so much for your time. I had so much fun doing this. I hope our viewers also have fun, and I hope you have fun talking with us.
I enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it, and it's always fun talking to you about my favorite subject.
We noticed. Thank you very much, Isis. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye.